Hey, well, welcome to Markers and Milestones, where we explore educational opportunities for young men and women beyond the traditional college, all from a Christ-centered perspective. I'm Lee Bortons. I'm here with my co-host, Amanda Kleist. Today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, and we're joined by my friend Rhonda Thomas. Rhonda is the founder and president of Atlanta-based Truth in Education, a 501(c)(3) that educates parents through exposing harmful anti-Christian trends, curriculum, and policies in the school systems. And Rhonda and I have met through the Christian Education Initiative, with both of us are members of, as well as she helps Public School Exit, which I am not a board member of, but I'm definitely a supporter and appreciate what they do there. So I wanted Rhonda to come on because she is so connected to politics, policy, and just that knows how to speak to our senators and representatives and to get involved. And one of the markers and milestones that we really appreciate with Classical Conversations Challenge families is how many of them go to Capitol days or they help campaign for their local legislators. But there's a lot going on in education, and I don't really want to spend around a lot of time talking about any of the ugly stuff that's going on, because then when there's good seasons of education, we also have to be helpful also. So you
Yeah.
want to introduce yourself a little more and tell us what is it you kind of do on a day-to-day basis and the goals of your organization?
The goals of our organization, really, God called this as a purpose for us. I mean, you have to have a purpose in life, and God certainly put this passion in my heart. And then those that are working with us, our goal is to build the kingdom, really. And we're doing that through being a light in all this darkness. And there's a lot of it in the education field as well as all around us. But on a daily basis, we work with legislators when we're in session. We also do a lot of research on all the different ideologies that are taking place in the school. We speak nationally, we speak locally. We're trying to put together more webinars right now, because it is so difficult to reach numbers. That's our biggest, one of our biggest obstacles. So we're going to do more webinars on our website that touches on all these different subjects. And the other thing is we're working with churches to hopefully get them to open their doors to groups like Classical Conversation and other organizations, to allow all that space that God's given them, if they're not already involved, in opening those doors to families that are looking for a solution.
Do you find that that pastors and ministries who have buildings are looking to serve the academics institutions, or do they think that's someone else's job?
It's a mix. I don't know if it's as much as they think it's someone else's job. Is what I'm finding is it's so foreign to them, and really you have to walk alongside them a little longer if you find that door is cracked. We're working with a really large church in Atlanta right now that is opening actually there was a school just given to them. And so it goes through 5th grade. So what they're doing now is it's a full-time school. So they are actually going to Virginia to learn more about an opportunity there that they're going to try to change the model from where that school is now into a different model. So he is very much on board with all of this. I think over time, it's a really large church that he would open those doors for homeschool groups and hybrids and Classical Conversation type groups that have done so well. So his heart is for this. So I think we really have to find those ministers that God has really called. Otherwise, it is very difficult to get into the churches many times.
Well, so it sounds like from what you just introduced yourself doing, there's kind of 3 avenues, and maybe we could talk about each of them separately. The
Okay.
one is connecting with legislators. The
Yeah.
others is connecting with churches, and I think those are both from a very positive perspective. But then also you are trying to battle, or at least educate people about bad policies. And those
Right.
are all things people can do without a college degree, right? They can start getting
Absolutely.
involved at 17 years old or younger. So
Yes. Yes, in fact, our son was involved in high school, and you are probably familiar maybe with Teen Pact.
Mhm.
Yes. So that's how he started and going to the Capitol. And we think that's a wonderful organization if that's in someone's area and they can get involved with that. For someone that wants to go down, we suggest that, and if it's a student, we suggest the parent go with them in during session. There's lots of preparation they can do ahead of time, which I'm sure they have. If it's an adult, we suggest if they want to learn more that they find out whichever party they're involved with, that they attend their breakfast and get to know people and really just observe initially and find out what's happening in that area.
What if you don't live near your capital, though? What if you're outside that area? How do you have those breakfasts and connect with them?
Well, every local area county has a political party breakfast. So if you are GOP, then you're going to find your local GOP and you're going to go to their breakfast, or you might attend their events. And the purpose for that is you're going to get to know more people that are hopefully like-minded, whichever party you are, and you are going to find out what's happening in your local area. The local area is so important. Our county and local area is very, very important. So I think by doing that, you meet people who may be working with the Board of Commissioners or working with the Board of Education or doing other things. And I think that helps guide you to draw you to someone, to an area that they're interested in. And maybe some people just want to start something simple in their church just to kind of start moving in that direction. It might be a billboard in their church regarding a certain issue. It might be bringing in a Salt and Light biblical citizenship group within your church to start educating. I do recommend people find out who their legislators are, and I suggest they take a friend and give them a call, see if they can have coffee with them, and find out what are their priorities for their next legislative session. What are they working on? Build those relationships. That's very, very important, is to build those relationships with your legislators.
So why? Why the local legislators over the famous state and national? Why should we do that?
Well, because there are a lot of huge decisions made at the local level. The zoning decisions, the Board of Education's decisions, those are things that affect our lives on a daily basis. Your city council, that's a really big, important area to keep up with. There are a lot of grants being brought in. There are a lot of zoning things coming on board. There's a lot of, if you look around, we have a lot of cameras in our areas, don't we? So we want to know what's happening on a local basis and what does that mean for us as someone living in this area? Are they bringing a lot of apartments in? Are they protecting the homeowners? We're beginning to see right now a lot of squatters. If you're keeping up with the news, that's a big issue right now. So what is our Board of Commissioners and our city councils going to do to protect our private property? So it's very important to be involved locally, but it is also important to be connected to your state legislators, because that's where a lot of action also happens. That when those bills are passed, say an education bill is passed, well, it goes to your superintendent. If in Georgia, it's called he's a superintendent, but they write policy that's passed down to your Board of Education, and then they write policy for your area based on that has been sent down to them. And that's how it works. So not to be overwhelmed, but to take your time and to find the area that you feel you're comfortable in, especially if you've never immersed yourself in it. It's more observation, learning by trial and error, and gaining knowledge. Really, you're gaining knowledge.
Yeah, one thing that struck me was about 6, 8 years ago, I was in Hungary.
Excuse me.
And they were trying to get the homeschool laws to be favorable. They were very controlled still, and I think they still are today. But I was like perplexed as to why it was so difficult to change their laws, because I'm an American and I think of all the freedoms we have and I forget how blessed we are. And I remember, when we were in the 80s trying to change the homeschool laws, that we spent a lot of times bringing artwork and cookies with our children to the Capitol and
Yes.
meeting those state legislators. So I explained that to the homeschool moms I was with in Hungary. And a little bit later, when they came back to me and they said, "We've been thinking about what you said." And we would never even think to do that because when we were communists, if our mothers had done that, they would have been shot. And we've never gotten over that fear. Well, no one's going to shoot us, but we're being negligent, aren't we? And giving up the rights for the totally different reason.
These are God-given rights, and he calls us to occupy until he returns and to be involved in everything he's ordained, and he ordained the government. So we are the light down there, and we need to be there to support the legislators that are doing the right things, and we need to be there to hold accountable the ones that are not. And we want to do it in a Matthew 18 approach. We don't want to come at someone angrily, but we want to be firm and kind of, work alongside them because we can help them. There are a lot of things and issues they're dealing with that they don't really understand, but those bills are being passed.
Okay, Amanda, now you've heard kind of what Rhonda does. What are your questions
Yeah.
for her?
Well, Rhonda, thank you for joining us, and I'm very interested in this. I'm in the state of California, so going up to Sacramento is an option, but one of the people in our area would also, who coaches homeschool parents, Family Protections Ministries, has said, yeah, go to your local district office, even when your legislator isn't there, because the full-time staffers write more policy than your legislator in person. So they'd say, take cookies. They'd say, be happy to meet them, thank them for working on all the problems. Not always that you have an answer for them, but build those relationships. Sounds like that's what you're saying as well.
Yes, it is. And you just pointed out something great, Amanda. Even when you go to the Capitol, take cookies to those administrators in those offices. Make the point to go in and introduce yourself and get their card and leave your card, because you work through them a lot in order to even get to that. You're going to schedule appointments through them with that legislator. So it is important to build those relationships. Even when it comes to the clerk's office, where you pick up copies of legislation. If you are someone that lives in the area with your capital, then that's important for them to see your face if this is something you're going to really get involved with. So there's a trust that's built there. And I think that's important. Yes.
One of our Challenge 4 students, all of our Challenge 4 students do a senior thesis and they have to defend it, and they're supposed to defend it among some strangers. So if one of our Challenge 4 students asked a local legislator to attend and be part of that that group of questioning, are the odds good that they would say yes? Do they get asked to do that kind of thing by young adults?
I don't think that happens very often. And I would say personally, I believe they would say yes. That's simple, right? No, nobody's going to be talking to them about legislation or things. It's almost a reprieve for them. And I believe most of them love to mentor. My son is a part of a group called Wilberforce Weekend that Tim Eccles, who started Team Pack. He does it once a year, and it's college students and up to early 30s and legislators. There's always 2 or 3 legislators there because they do enjoy that. They do like to impart their knowledge and also to mentor. So yes, I would say they would. Yes.
Yeah, there's
So
a
Ron,
lot. Good, Amanda.
so Rhonda, Lee's passionate. Most of us who are spend time on these things are passionate about being involved. But some people are wary, like her Hungarian friends. What's the easy way to get started and test the waters? Especially I'm thinking of, I'm a mom, my kids are little. There's some, 8, not very much. They're not adults yet. They're not ready to argue. Really, they're just trying to eat their peas when I tell them that, Mom. How do you help coach them?
One of the things I would suggest, and we do this, is to have a coffee at your house. And just bring a few moms together, and the kids can be there, and just start talking about your concerns. Maybe there's something you've heard about, like the books in the library, anything, and just begin to build that relationship with them based on talking about issues, and see where God takes that. That would be one place. The other place, I believe, is the church, because if you're involved in your church, then you're comfortable there. And it could be something very simple, like registering people to vote, and of course, always getting all of that approved through your pastor. But yes, I think there's little things we can do, and there's prayer. We always need prayer. So we have a group that prays for truth and education, and we send them our prayer requests. So yes, there's simple ways to get involved. And I encourage everyone to do that.
Yeah, one thing that we come up against is HSLDA or organization like yours, or even S3CC's Freedom Institute will send an alert of something that's going on and ask people to participate in contacting their legislators. And a lot of them do, and then get really snippy people answering the phone saying, yeah, you're just voicing what somebody else told you. You don't even know what you're talking about. And so then they don't ever want to do that. They don't ever want to call again. I've had that experience myself. So kind of like, how do you arm yourself when you're calling a stranger and you're passionate about something? Just like, what are the responses you can expect?
Well, I think overall you're going to have a good response, but every once in a while, like our session is a very short session in Georgia, and it just ended. And that last week is a tough week for everyone. So I think we need ahead of time to really stop and pray and just say, God, let me, I'm going to understand there's a lot going on in that office. Give me the patience to just share what I want to share, and share it clearly. And then if there is someone that's snippy at you, then maybe they just need to hear you say, have a good day, and thank you for listening to me. Right?
Yeah, they're people too.
And yes. And yes. So I think that's important. will tell you that legislators, if you send a form letter, they don't read them all.
Mhm.
They really put a lot of emphasis on personalized letters.
Mhm.
You can give someone a template, but we always request that they try to personalize it, because if they get 100 form letters, they will read one and not read the rest. And phone calls are very important also. I actually prefer a phone call first and an email, but I think the phone calls are also very important. But personalizing what you can is important. But I know a lot of people can't do that. So we do give them a form letter to kind of go by.
But when you say form letter, you mean a form email?
Yes, a form email.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. So my age here. Form email, yes. Everything's
Because people tend to respect handwritten letters even more.
I agree. You can also do that. And when you go in to that office with those cookies, write them a thank you note. That's the other thing. We need to remember that they're not going to always do things that we're excited about. When they do something good, though, we need to recognize it. Because we're always letting them know what we don't like. So if they do something that we think is good, or that we appreciate, we need to let them know we appreciate it. Yes.
I think with that, to say it again, even appreciate the act of serving, even if they're not whatever team we would be, but that somebody chose to spend time serving the people that we're a part of.
I agree, Amanda. So we should always respect the office and the fact that they have taken time away from their family, and they usually have other jobs. This is not a full-time job for them. So, and their pay is not real high, but they've actually stepped out to run for that office. So yes, we do want to do that. I agree. And I suggest people, if there is an issue that is close to their heart, like it is for me with education, then start reading books and following people that are educating us on those topics, so that we're more knowledgeable when we talk to others about something that's going on, whether it is homeschooling or private school or what's happening in the public school. I think it's kind of neat for people to be that resource for other people, and that takes time. because I didn't get where I am and I still have so much to learn. We never quit learning, but I've been doing this for 20 years and I've been in the education part of it for at least 7, as heavily as I am now.
Mhm.
So that's just time. So find someone that can mentor you also, that has been doing this and that you believe. Number one, we need to know where we stand and what our faith is and our own belief system. So we want to find someone that's like-minded with us. We may not agree 100% on everything, but we're going to learn from each other and support each other. And I think that's important.
So let's segue then to that aspect of what you do. How does Truth in Education specifically help with the training? And are you Georgia only, national? Like, where's your reach?
Our
Right.
reach is mostly we speak nationally. We are Georgia based and we're in different counties in Georgia. We speak nationally. We have several chapters in a couple of other states, but we are mostly, as far as capital oriented and all that, we're mostly Georgia focused. But we do work with other people, even if they're not a part of our group, that just wants to know. We answer questions, we provide information. And again, I do travel and speak. So our real big deal is education. We want people to understand what's happening. We want people to understand that our school counselors, if you're in a school, they believe their ethical duty is above the law. These are important things that people need to know. And we can't really stand on anything if we don't understand what we're fighting. We've got to know what we're fighting.
Mhm.
And so, yes.
So I guess what I'm thinking of is if we have some recent challenge graduates that are in Georgia, can they
Mhm.
get a hold of you and you offer breakfast and training there live or just the webinars you referred to? Like,
We would love to do a live training. That would be fantastic. In fact, I know exactly who I'd invite to come and join me to do that. So no, we would love that. Again, if you can help the younger generation get more involved, I mean, we need that. So yes, absolutely.
because one thing that's been that I've seen be successful is challenge graduates who throughout their summer either look for internships or work with policy groups or take courses like you offer. And people forget that you don't always have to pay for your training. If you're just interested, there's nonprofits like yourself that are willing to help. Is that true?
Yeah.
That is true. I do believe that. And I mean, we could probably help, reach out and also with internships to see if there's anything we can do
Mhm.
to help them. So that's not our main thing we do, but we are open to that because I love working with young people. So we are definitely open to that. In fact, one of the things that we had already gotten approved through the governor was to do a writing contest, history writing contest. So we haven't done that yet. So I do think it's important to bring our younger generation in. And I'll just be honest with you, know how I got used to going to the Capitol the first time? Because my son was doing teen back.
Yeah.
And, if you've not been to your Capitol, it can be very overwhelming and
Mhm.
intimidating. But then you go a few times and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just like going into my house. This is comfortable. They're no different than we are. They've just selected to run for office, but it's just like talking to your uncle or anyone else. So familiarizing ourselves with all of that is very important, and especially our young people.
Mhm.
So yes, I think that's great.
Go ahead, Amanda.
So Rhonda, I'd like to turn towards your church involvement, and I know you talked about senior pastors, but what do you do involved for the moms specifically? Because you seem geared towards them, a women's ministry type thing, or even children's education there.
So what we're trying to do is bring in different Christian models. Really, we're focused on the Christian models and mentoring the young moms. We want to really do this more. And so I feel like God's calling us more in this direction to really, moms are scared, right? There are a lot of moms out there that would love to pull their children out of the situation they're in now, whatever school that is, mostly public school, but they're a little fearful. So one of our goals is to try to really arrange mentors that are already doing this. We want to do more interviews with moms, and you probably have this, that we can count on you guys to even look at this, but that we can share on our page. But what was your biggest obstacle of moving out and taking control of your child's education? Did you find, there's always those crazy same old questions, right? How do you socialize them? And I can't do it. And we know we can do it because God equips us for whatever he calls us to do. And I'm with Lee. I mean, you can have a high school graduation and do this. I mean, this is, a parent can do this. So we want to encourage them. And that's what, we have a couple of moms that are being trained in a Christian model right now. So I need to learn more about all the different models that are available too. I want to learn even more about classical conversations because I know what you do, but I don't know as deep as I would like to know. So that's something I'd like to get into also. So I really think we're moving more into education, just what we're doing now, into hopefully helping people move out of public school and find their fit, and even working with teachers that have been stuck in some of the schools that want to leave and are looking for opportunities. We would also like to help them. So we are still going to the Capitol for certain things, but overall, our biggest drive is research, education, speaking, and hoping every time we speak, if one person pulls their child, I feel like we've been successful. So that's really our model.
So not make light of small things, because you
Yeah.
never know what that one family is going to end up doing
Yeah.
next. So it seems like you've turned your attention from maybe when you first started to a lot of the exposing of what was going on to, like the scriptures tell us, you can chase out that demon, but if you don't have something good to replace it with, seven
Yeah.
more come. So you're looking for those replacement opportunities.
Are looking for solutions, and we just found one which you guys may be familiar with. We have partnered in a sense with Sky Tree Book Fairs, which is endorsed by Kirk Cameron. They have pre-K through 8th grade right now. They are going to go through high school, but we have an interview of the founder of that on our website, and we're about to put up put the documents and everything on the website. And we already have one person in one of our counties that's going to host a book fair. So we hope to remove Scholastic and replace them with Skytree. So we do have to come up with solutions. And when we find them, we're trying to jump on them. And that's for even homeschoolers, I believe. And we can do, that doesn't specific to a structured brick and mortar school. That's for everyone. But I love because they vet every one of their books. And we can feel good about it because we all know Scholastic has been woke for a very long time, but it's more so now. So
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know if a lot of parents know. I mean, they probably know about Scholastic and the book fairs in their school, but they don't know over probably close to 50 years ago, Scholastic started getting the contracts from the government to be the book fair vendors at the schools around the country. And of course, they did take a turn over the last 20 years as to what they offered. And
Yeah.
so Sky Fair is just an alternative, is what you're saying. And so homeschoolers could build their own personal library. Because one thing that was good about Scholastic is it was inexpensive versions of books.
Yeah.
So is Sky Fair doing that same thing?
I believe they are. Yes. Skytree.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, I did that the first time too. So
Yep.
Skytree.
Mhm.
And yes, we're going to put their catalog on our site, but it's a great fundraiser. They're looking for people that are like-minded. They vet the books twice. They vet them, and then they are looking for help to vet books.
Mhm.
And they want people that are like-minded to do that. So we've sent them several people already that will be reading for them. And so they really, really, really want to make a difference in that area, in that space. So I'm excited about that.
So one of the things that I like about your organization is you are being proactive. I mean, we need the organizations that reveal all the stuff that's going on, but that doesn't help a mom go, but now what do I do next? So now you're trying to help with books to buy and hybrids and homeschooling information. What else are you up to help us?
Well, I think anything we can find to post on our website that helps, like there is a Christian tutoring service that I just found out about. So we're going to actually put their site, I believe, we're looking right now to see if we can get permission to add that to our website. So we need resources, and a lot of that's going to be us out there on the ground doing this, but a lot of it's also going to be through social media and through websites. And I really believe social media right now is pretty restricted. So we've got to look for a lot of different avenues to get the information out. We do still educate, because right now we're doing a deep dive into the school counselors. We have been for several years, but I'm now finding out some additional information from Castle and how their SEL, or social emotional learning, in our school is actually the new world religion, and how they're bringing it in. So I think right now for me, the books have been there for years. There's 42 states that have K through 12 libraries are exempt from the obscenity law. So until we change that law, they're not coming out of the schools, and we've been trying for years and they won't touch it. So we do need to bring attention to them. The other thing is the sex ed, but right now for us, it's the spirituality part of it, and how that's being brought in through social emotional learning and mindfulness. And basically, I was just on a Zoom call, a training with a group and of people involved in all this. Somehow I got into it, and they are going to try to convince, they're all about this. So Rockefeller, different people being on this call. My whole thing right now is how this SEL is undermining the gospel. Everything that's happening in the school is based on social emotional learning, and it's undermining the gospel. It's bringing in, it is a worldview. And mindfulness is being used to kind of clean that slate of what these children have learned and bring all of this stuff in. And it's much, much deeper than that. So that's where we're focused right now. And I do believe we have to educate on these things in order for people to understand why they need to leave. You've got to know, and then hopefully you can be awakened and you will make that decision to leave.
Yeah.
Not everyone will. So we don't count on the numbers. Like you said earlier, we could have 100 people at a meeting, we could have 10, but I always believe God brings who he wants at those meetings. And so and he will place that on someone's heart. So that's our goal.
Right.
So
Before we wrap up, anything else, Amanda?
Well, you came to this when your child was in high school, if he was doing, or her, your girl or boy, I forgot which, Team Pact. What do you wish you'd done as a young mom?
Oh my goodness. As a young mom, I think honestly and truly, we did Christian school and we were very happy with our schools. Now, when our son hit 9th grade, he wanted to be more involved in politics. He wasn't into sports and different things. So that's the blessing of our country, right? We have a lot of choices. And so he chose to homeschool in high school. And that way he could get involved with all the politics. And that's how we met Tim Eccles. He actually works with Tim Eccles now. He's the lead attorney down at the Capitol for one of the groups. So he, I think I would have checked more into homeschooling. I didn't know that much about it, but I do believe we had a great experience, but I met so many homeschoolers through him doing that, homeschooling families, and just their wide range of knowledge on just how the world works and everything they were involved in. I think we would have considered homeschooling. That's one of the things. I'm trying to think. Maybe, I don't know, I know I would change a lot of things, but you got me on the spot there, Amanda. Now I'm trying to think of what it would be. That would definitely be one of them. I was very involved in their schools. So I didn't work. I did ministry. I worked in their schools. So maybe that also was a good experience for me because we loved where we were and they flourished there. I did all their fundraising. I worked with foster care. I did a lot of other things with our church. So I know a lot of parents can't do that. So that's one of the things that we want to do is try to come alongside those young moms, those single moms especially, that would like to do something different and they can't. So I know there has to be a way, and we're just working and just see what God reveals. So
Well, Rhonda, we know there's a way. Before 1920s, when education became compulsory, we had a 97% literacy rate in this country, and now we're down to 14%. Sending our children to a system, an institution, totally ruined their ability to read. So we know we have so many models and examples if we'll just look backwards.
I think it's difficult because this next generation of the parents, I think they are just conditioned that we've really turned our children over to the government. And that's what they've known. That's what they've been conditioned to. So to change that mindset is really a big push, but God can do it. And I know what you're saying, Lee, because in public school, they can't give a child below a 50. And if that child is not going to graduate, they give them all the time they need to make that work up. And they pass them on because if they don't have a high graduation rate, that school doesn't make the same money. So that is huge. And you're right. But we've replaced academics with therapeutic education. The biggest issue, right? So everything is mental health. Everything that's mental health now falls under behavioral health. And behavioral health touches every area of our life. And of course, now we have the school-based health clinics coming in. So I think as we move forward, there'll be, I pray, more and more parents seeing that they're losing, really, those school clinics will take away a great deal of the rights that we have left. So that's our prayer, right? As parents will. Yes.
So why don't you end then with telling us how we can get a hold of you, and then do you have something upcoming soon that you'd like us to pray for?
Yes, you can reach us by going to our website, truthineducation.org. And our email you can also use, which is info@truthineducation.org. And yes, we could use prayer. We want prayer for our families that we're working with, that God will give them courage. We need courage above fear, and that He will open doors for us to get into the churches, to meet pastors, and to show us the way. Recently, I've found that we can go to small churches and they're actually more open. So to open those doors, and so prayer for the work we're doing, prayer for what's happening, even within the people that work with us, the volunteers. We had a prayer request this morning. And so it's hard to face this and to do this. So to send us those solutions that bring us joy while we stay in the darkness over here and try to bring light to parents, that's huge. So that's really big. So yes, thank you for asking.
Yeah, so well, we just really appreciate the time that you gave us, and we do
Yes.
we do pray for you and bless you, and I look forward to seeing you again, whether it's at CEI or something that CC does in Georgia with you, but we'll stay connected.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you've done in California to connect those churches. You were nodding vigorously when you're talking about those smaller churches that are much.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Well, it was nice to meet you, Amanda.
Nice to meet you as well,
God
Rhonda.
for having me and for what you do.
Right. Thank you, gals. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.